For years now, we have seen report after report about the relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, but the story that just broke tonight is certainly the most damning and most damaging of them all, exposing the relationship between the two and just how disgusting it was. And we are going to get into that breaking news report, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now, like I said, Donald Trump, this might be the most damaging story of them all for him as we are in the final days of this campaign, and especially because of a remark he made the other day saying that he is going to impose his policies on women whether they like it or not, a remark that Kamala Harris continues to slam Donald Trump for. So before we get into this breaking news report, I want to hear a little bit from Kamala Harris because I think what she says and provides important context to this story. So let's take a look.
And remember how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. And now in America, 1 in 3 women lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban, many with no exceptions, even for rape and incest, which is immoral. And Donald Trump's not done. Did everyone hear what he just said yesterday? That he will do what he wants, quote, and here's where I'm going to quote, whether the women like it or not. And we must vote because this is the thing. You know, there's a saying that you got to listen to people when they tell you who they are. And this is not the first time he has told us who he is. He does not believe women should have the agency and authority to make decisions about their own bodies. This is the same man who said women should be punished for their choices. He simply does not respect the freedom of women or the intelligence of women to know what's in their own best interest and make decisions accordingly. But we trust women. We trust women. Which is why, yes, we will vote, because we also understand if he was elected, he has been pretty clear in his behavior and his deeds. He will ban abortion nationwide. He will restrict access to birth control, put IVF treatments at risk, and force states to monitor women's pregnancies. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google Project 2025.
We have always known who Donald Trump is, and it is never going to change. And it is reaffirmed in the most disgusting way in this report. So let's get into it. A breaking news report from the Daily Beast titled, "Epstein showed me photos of Trump with topless young women sitting in his lap," claims author. Jeffrey Epstein showed off photos of Donald Trump with topless young women sitting in his lap, the controversial author Michael Wolff has alleged. The pedophile financier had about a half-dozen pictures which showed Trump by the pool with multiple young women, Wolff claimed on his podcast Fire and Fury. They were taken in the late 90s at Epstein's Palm Beach home, where he victimized dozens of underage girls, along with his procurer, Ghislaine Maxwell, Wolff said. Wolff alleged that they were in Epstein's safe, which the FBI seized when they raided his home in New York and Palm Beach in July of 2019. The massive haul of evidence taken by the feds has never been made public, and while prosecutors disclosed after the raid that they had made hundreds of photos of young girls and women, they had never offered any more details of them. Wolff said of the photos, they were with Trump at Epstein's Palm Beach house sitting around the pool with these young girls, and the young girls are topless. And in some of the pictures, they're sitting in his lap. I mean, and then there's one I especially remember where there's a stain, a telltale stain, and on the front of Trump's pants, and the girls are pointing at him and laughing. Trump separated from his second wife in 1999 and began dating his third wife, Melania, in 1998. The Trump campaign hit back at Wolf for his claims, calling him disgraced. A campaign spokesperson said in a statement to the Beast, Michael Wolff is a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies in order to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. He waited until days before the election to make outlandish false smears, all in an effort to engage in blatant election interference on behalf of Kamala Harris. He's a failed journalist that is resorting to lying for attention. Wolff described the photos as he revealed details of how Epstein was a key source for him while writing his best-selling book Fire and Fury, which rocked the Trump White House when it was published in 2018. Wolff said he had as much as 100 hours of tape of Epstein talking about Trump and played a short snippet of one of those tapes in his podcast. He also said he was prompted to speak after allegations this week by a former Miss Switzerland winner that Trump groped her, grabbing and touching my body everywhere he could. Asked by the co-host of the podcast, journalist James Truman, where are these pictures? Wolff suggested they may be among items taken by the FBI, which worked for Trump's Attorney General Bill Barr at the time. You know, he would go and he would take them out of the safe, and then he would return them to the safe, and I would say it's likely that they would have been there when the FBI, Trump's FBI at that point, not to put too fine a point on it, raided Epstein's house and took the contents of the safe in 2019. Just a damning report showing how close the ties between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were. And of course, we know earlier this year in an interview with Fox, when Donald Trump was asked if he would declassify evidence about Jeffrey Epstein, he kind of paused. He didn't really want to say if he would. He kind of backtracked, saying that there was possibility of phony stuff in there, and it is clear why. And it is clear that the Trump campaign is freaking out over this new bombshell report because they want to do everything they can to protect Donald Trump from the truth coming out about him so close to the election. And especially when women's issues are on the ballot, like the fight for reproductive freedom, which Michelle Obama delivered such an incredible speech on just this week. And I want to take a look.
Let me take a minute to help folks, especially the men in our lives, to get a better sense of what could happen if we keep dismantling parts of our reproductive care system piece by piece, as Trump intends to do. I want folks to understand the chilling effect, not just on critical abortion care, but on the entirety of women's health. All of it. There are good reasons why so many women and physicians are horrified by what's happened since Donald Trump's justices overturned Roe v. Wade. We're seeing women scrambling across state lines to get the care they need. Just this week, a major medical journal reported that after Roe was overturned, infant mortality in this country rose, in large part because women are being forced to carry fetuses that won't survive to term. One woman spent 22 days in jail on murder charges after she miscarried in her own bathroom. We are seeing doctors unsure if they can treat ectopic pregnancies. Doctors being told they can't treat a woman until she becomes so close to death that only a life of the mother exception will allow them to act. So just imagine the profound effects for all of us if Donald Trump wins this election. In states that are already putting abortion bans into effect, his FDA could further outlaw patchwork systems of telehealth appointments and mail-order pills, thereby eliminating the last remaining protections for women in those states. He could take actions that effectively ban abortion nationwide, which would put all of us in danger, no matter what state we live in. We will see more doctors hesitating or shying away from providing life-saving treatments because they are worried about being arrested. More medical students reconsidering even pursuing women's health at all. More OB/GYN clinics without enough doctors to meet demand closing their doors, leaving untold numbers of women in communities throughout this country without a place to go for basic gynecological care, which in turn will leave millions of us at risk of undiagnosed medical issues like cervical and uterine cancers. This is real. So do you think Donald Trump is thinking about the consequences for the millions of women who will be living in medical deserts? Does anyone think he has the emotional maturity and foresight to come up with a plan to protect us? Yo, we are teetering on the edge. Even before these state bans, America was already lagging behind every other wealthy nation on measures like maternal mortality and paid leave. So we could be right back to the days before Roe, which many young people here don't even remember. The days when abortion wasn't as safe as it is today. The days when the number of mothers of color dying in childbirth was 30 to 40% higher than when it was under Roe. So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women, and how it will affect every single woman in your life. Your girlfriend could be the one in legal jeopardy if she needs a pill from out of state or overseas, or if she has to travel across state lines because the local clinic closed up. Your wife or mother could be the ones at higher risk of dying from undiagnosed cervical cancer because they have no access to regular gynecological care. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. And this will not just affect women, it will affect you and your sons. The devastating consequences of teen pregnancy won't just be borne by young girls, but also by the young men who are the fathers. They too will have their dreams of going to college. Their entire future is totally upended by an unwanted pregnancy. If you and your partner are expecting a child, you will be right by her side at the checkups, terrified if her blood pressure is too high, or if there's an issue with the placenta, or if the ultrasound shows that the embryo was implanted in the wrong place, and the doctors aren't sure that they can intervene to keep the woman you love safe.
Such a powerful speech directed at the people who need to turn out for the women in their lives. Men need to step up and fight for the freedom of the women in their lives, not just because they are the women in their lives, but because it's freedom. It is a guarantee that all people should have bodily autonomy. It's something that Donald Trump clearly doesn't believe in, and that's why we got to defeat him. And we're going to keep talking about that on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.